Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that literally impacts every single person in business. We're talking about how to stop drowning in a sea of raw data and start creating actual, measurable value. We are going to explore exactly how professionals use everyday tools, specifically Microsoft Excel, to bridge that massive gap between messy numbers and brilliant business strategy.
Here's our roadmap for today. First up, the strategic survival mandate. Second, we'll look at the data-to-decision pipeline. Third, mastering the SOAR framework. Fourth, we'll talk about Excel as our analytics engine. And finally, visualizing for executive impact.
All right, section 1, the strategic survival mandate. So there's this fundamental truth in the modern marketplace, right? The existential purpose of any business enterprise is the continuous creation of value. But let's be real, in today's era of hyper-competition, relying on some executive's gut feeling is basically a death sentence. To survive, you absolutely need the disciplined synthesis of massive data volumes. Precision isn't just nice to have, it's everything. Moving on to section 2, the data-to-decision pipeline. I want you to think of this pipeline kind of like a giant refinery for raw noise. It all starts with raw data that has context, meaning you're anchoring facts to a specific situation. Now, as you structure that data to reveal patterns, it becomes information. Once you internalize those patterns, it transforms into knowledge, giving you this incredible superpower of predictive capability. And finally, that knowledge translates into impact. You're leveraging what you know to make optimal, value-maximizing business decisions. Section 3, master the SOAR framework. Okay, so without a standardized methodology, you run the risk of making the most expensive consulting mistake in the book, which is aimless analysis. Just imagine wasting hundreds of billable hours untangling this massive dataset, only to realize at the end that your findings mean absolutely nothing to the business. It happens all the time. But the SOAR framework prevents that nightmare entirely. It ensures that every single analytical effort you make serves a high-level strategic purpose. So what is SOAR? It stands for Specify, Obtain, Analyze, and Report. And what's really fascinating here is that each phase is anchored by this ruthless so what question. You need to specify what the manager actually needs to know, obtain only the most relevant data, analyze it to figure out exactly what happened and why, and finally, report the results so they actually make an impact. Let's zoom in on that very first step. If you fail to specify the correct question right out of the gate, you end up committing what's known as a type 3 error. That means you're solving the wrong problem with incredible precision. And honestly, it doesn't matter how beautiful your spreadsheet formulas are, if the core question is flawed, the whole project is just a sunk cost. Then, during the obtain phase, you basically have to act like a bouncer for your data. You want to avoid GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. If your inputs are corrupted or messy, your brilliant conclusions don't just become useless, they actually become a massive active liability to the company's bottom line. Section 4, Excel, the analytics engine. While SOAR is your mental roadmap, Microsoft Excel is the practical engine that actually does the heavy lifting. This is the essential tool business analysts rely on every single day. Excel is the ultimate catalyst here. It lets professionals effortlessly move from descriptive analysis, figuring out what happened, to diagnostic analysis, figuring out why it happened. It's exactly how you quickly test hypotheses and manipulate massive datasets into pure gold. And the real beauty of Excel? Its power is universally applied across every single strategic function. It's definitely not just for the IT department. Marketing uses it to optimize acquisition costs, accounting relies on it for cost variances, finance uses it for capital allocation, and operations uses it to pinpoint supply bottlenecks. Really, no matter what department you're in, mastering Excel to answer strategic questions is absolutely crucial for creating value. And that brings us to section 5, visualizing for executive impact. In the boardroom, the best analysis often loses to the best presentation. It's just a fact. Your primary objective in the final reporting phase has to be the reduction of cognitive load. Executives have minutes, not hours, right? So you want a radically faster time to insight. That means they need to instantly grasp your synthesized knowledge without doing any mental math whatsoever. Great visuals achieve this load reduction in 3 very specific ways. First up is immediate pattern recognition. Our brains process a visual trend line infinitely faster than a giant wall of text. Second is executive alignment. You're creating a single shared version of the truth for everyone in the room. And third, persuasion. The data is your evidence, but the visualization, that is your undeniable argument. The difference in time to insight is honestly almost comical. Finding an outlier in a well-designed chart takes mere seconds. Digging through a 10,000-row spreadsheet to find that exact same outlier, that could literally take days of your life you'll never get back. So use Excel to crunch the rows, but definitely use its visualization tools to speak to the human beings actually making the decisions.
An analysis that cannot be communicated is an analysis that does not exist. That right there is the ultimate so what of your reporting phase. Your Excel mastery only creates value if you can actually get stakeholders on board. If your brilliant diagnostic work is locked up in some confusing format, it literally has zero strategic utility.
By mastering Microsoft Excel and the SOR framework, you're equipping yourself to be the vital bridge between raw data and massive business value. You'll know how to ask the right questions, protect your data, run the analytical engine, and present undeniable arguments. So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with this thought. Moving forward, will you settle for being just a scattered data processor, or will you step up and become an indispensable strategic advisor?